Hello beautiful people and welcome back to Life of a Dreamer. My name is Darian Wright. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. So today I'm going to be working on this small little project that is a part of my room makeover series that I started on here with you guys. And with all this coronavirus quarantine mess, I have nothing but time on my hands. So ever since I moved into this place, next to my desk I've kept this tub full of like papers and crafting things, just random stuff that I like to keep near me while I'm working at my desk. But it doesn't look very pretty sitting in the tub, so I wanted to find a way to kind of hide the stuff and have it organized and have it next to me, but looking very pretty, especially next to my desk that I redid and made over. So if you guys want to find out how I make over this crate, stay tuned. So I found this toy chest at Goodwill a few weeks ago for $8.99 and I love the shape and the size of it. It's not exactly wood, it's that like layered cardboard stuff. I don't know what that's called. So it keeps it from being super heavy, which is good because I want to be able to like kind of move it around. I like the size and shape of it. I think it'll look really nice under my windowsill, and it's sturdy enough to hold the things that I kind of want to hide but also keep next to my desk. It has this top that completely comes off, and I don't necessarily like that because I kind of smush my fingers in it every now and then, so I got some hinges so that I can hinge it to where it opens like this. Also, it's kind of awkward to hold unless you pick up the entire thing from the bottom, so I got some handles to kind of put on the sides so that I can pick it up and move it around if I need to. Obviously, we're going to cover this beautiful ballerina design because I am not an 8-year-old little girl, so we're going to just kind of make that look chic and clean. I got some solid white contact paper that's going to cover this whole thing up. Also, this kind of pushes out at the bottom. It's a little bit distorted. I mean, obviously it's like years old, so I got some nails to kind of reinforce that at the bottom and hold it into place. So let's get started. So first off, I'm just going to wipe this down with the damp cloth because there's just random things on it and I want to kind of clean that up before we get started on anything else. The more I started to clean this, the more I realized how disgusting it was, so I ended up spraying it down with some disinfectant and letting it sit for a little while and then wiping it as clean as I could get it. Next, I'm just going to take this thing apart. It's going to make it easier for me to get inside and clean it even better, and also easier to cover each piece with the contact paper. The bottom of this thing was so disgusting. Ugh. Next, I'm going to go in with some leftover Rust-Oleum High Gloss White Spray Paint that I used for my desk makeover, and I'm going to spray the feet of this chest. The chest is actually kind of like an off-white cream color, and I wanted it to be solid white to match the contact paper. Initially, I was just going to spray paint the feet of the chest, but I noticed throughout this process that the contact paper was a little bit see-through, and I knew that the designs would show through a little bit, so I just took the rest of my spray paint and put a layer on to cover up those designs so that they wouldn't show through. Normally, you wouldn't want to spray paint the thing that you're painting so closely because the paint definitely clumps up in certain areas and drips, but I just wanted to make sure that this design was completely covered up, so I didn't care if there were drips or anything like that because I was going to go in and cover this entire thing with contact paper anyway. I let these pieces completely dry overnight just to be on the safe side and to make sure that that spray paint smell was completely gone before I brought these back into my house. And then the next morning, I started to cover it up with the contact paper. To cover this chest, I'm going to be using this solid white contact paper that I got from Walmart. It's the same brand as the marble contact paper that I used to cover my desk. I'll link that above for you guys so you can check out that video if you haven't. I'm going to start off with the bottom piece first and just work my way up the chest. This contact paper is so cool because the back of it has a grid on it, so it helps you cut straight lines. So I just cut out the size of contact paper that I needed and covered the bottom part. You'll see me going back and forth between using my hand and a straight edge. I find that my hand is way easier to get the air bubbles out and just kind of move a little bit faster. If you do get air bubbles in it, it's fine. Just kind of peel it back and smooth it down again. This is very forgivable contact paper because it is a removable adhesive. It's like a big sticker. So just peel it back and put it down again and you'll be fine. This part was a little bit tricky because of the indentations, but after a lot of trial and error, I was able to figure out a way to kind of sink that contact paper in there and then lay over a few pieces to kind of smooth everything out in the end. I'm going to fast forward a lot of this and speed through it because it took me so long to get everything smooth. As far as wrapping the edges, I really just tried to make sure that my cuts were straight and smooth, and I tried to work in small sections because it's easier to smooth everything down and not have any air bubbles. So I just cut the corners and smoothed them down as best as I could. Even though this is the bottom piece of the chest and no one's going to be able to really see it, I wanted everything to look smooth and cohesive. So after I got down all of those wrapped pieces as smooth as I could, I cut out 2 rectangular pieces to kind of put on top of those patchy areas just so everything was smooth and cohesive. After I finish completely wrapping that bottom piece, I'm just going back with my X-Acto knife and cutting little X's in all the holes so that I can screw the chest back together in the end. Now it's time to cover the body of the chest. Initially, I was gonna cut 4 pieces of contact paper and kind of cover each side one by one, but I decided that I didn't want to see any cut edges, so in the end, I actually wrapped the entire chest in one long piece of contact paper, and I'm so glad I did because it made it super easy when it was time for me to tuck those edges on the inside of the chest. It really helped out. Since each side of the top of this chest had this kind of crescent cutout, I figured it'd just be easiest for me to kind of work in small sections. So I just cut each section and tucked it in and smoothed it down. For the rounded part, it was easier for me to kind of cut these into little triangle shapes and fold them up one by one and then cut them at the end. To cover the top of the chest, I just laid the top down and cut out the size of contact paper that I would need to wrap it, and I used the remainder of the contact paper to cut out these little squares in order to cover up these little triangle parts. After covering each triangle piece on the top of the chest, wrapping the rest of the top was pretty straightforward. I just peeled back the contact paper and smoothed it all down. Now we're going to go into putting the chest together. First, I'm just going to screw each foot back onto the bottom piece of the chest. Now that all the feet are back on, we're just going to attach the bottom piece to the body of the chest. I got this 80 pack of finishing nails from Home Depot for $150 because I wanted to make sure that this chest was super sturdy and I didn't want it to continue to bulge out in certain areas. So I'm going to nail down the bottom to give it some extra support. I also got this pack of gold hinges from Home Depot for $248, and I have to tell y'all, I think I did this the wrong way. First, I attached the hinge to the top of the chest and then attached that to the actual chest, and I'm not sure if I'm supposed to do it that way. It worked out in the end, but it was definitely a hassle. I found these handles on clearance at Target for $648, and I thought they were so pretty, and I wanted to stick to the white and gold theme of my desk. First, I'm going to measure the width of the chest, and it's about 10 inches, so I'm going to mark the center at about 5 inches. Then I'm going to measure about 1.5 inches down, and that's where I'm going to place the hole for my handles. Next, I'm going to take my 11/64 drill bit in order to drill a hole for the handle. And then I'm going to insert the screw that came with the handle, and then I'm just going to tighten that with my Phillips head screwdriver. Now that the chest is done, I'm just going to load it up with all of my random things that don't really have a place to go. I love the way this chest turned out, but I'm still toying around with the idea of doing a little something more to it to really make it pop. I'm not sure. I may decide before the final room reveal, but for now I love how chic and clean it looks and the extra storage it gives me. So that is it for this DIY. I hope y'all enjoyed this. I had such a good time doing this video. It was so simple and so cheap and easy, but it made such a big difference. I'm so happy how it tied that whole area next to my desk and under my window together. It hides all my chaos and I can keep everything looking clean and neat in my room. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. If you like what you saw, don't forget to subscribe down below and hit that bell so that you get notified every time I post a new video. Don't forget to thumbs up this video. It really helps my channel. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and all your support this far. Don't forget to follow me on my social media and stay tuned for the next one. Bye.